Guitar Boss Radio, coming to you now.
Welcome to today's Guitar Boss podcast. We've got Stuart with us today, speaking from up in Scotland. And it's great to meet you and hear about what's going on in your world. So yeah, tell us a bit about how you got started with the guitar.
So I started, if you like to call it, officially teaching in 2009. I was at uni, and as part of my degree course, I set up like a mock teaching business.
Nice.
So when I left uni, which was in the May, come that August, I just registered with HMRC as being a self-employed guitar tutor.
Nice.
And I've done that since, basically.
Brilliant.
So that's kind of how it started. Obviously, just when I was younger, I enjoyed going for lessons, and I kind of thought I would quite like to do this.
Yeah.
It never happened for a while. I had done loads of other jobs. Basically, I left school and worked in a garage and done quite a few various other things, even became a lorry driver. But eventually ended up now teaching. And as I say, I've done that since 2009.
Yeah.
So that's been that. It's been quite a up and down journey, shall we say, as I'm sure it is for a lot of guitar teachers. And in the earlier years, it was, now summers especially, before I started like monthly payment and stuff, there was quite a few times when I thought, I think I need to get a job, an actual job, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't. I stuck with it, and here we are. So
nice. Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, I was similar to you. I actually did music tech and music related studies at uni and college and stuff. And then I looked for a music job and I couldn't find one. Well, nothing that was paid. So I was shopping around for about 9 months before I was like, okay, well, I'll just try and get an office job. And then I ended up doing that for 7 years. And then I thought, I've got to get back into guitar. So then I started teaching in people's homes. But I was similar to you. It's kind of like you'll get a few students and you kind of max out, going to people's homes, and then you have to, evolve and have your own place. And I just had a kid. So she was about 1 and there was no space to teach in the house or the flat we were in. So yeah, it's tricky if you don't have a home base where you can kind of bring people in and build it up that way. So do you teach one-to-one or are you a group teacher?
I teach one-to-one. It's something that I do enjoy one-to-one, and it's something that I had always done since I started. It's kind of what I set out to do as well. When I did start out as well, I was also teaching a group on a Saturday morning, and that lasted for 8 years. So we've done that for a while. I stopped doing that. I had a wee boy 5 years ago, so I stopped doing the group thing on a Saturday morning and kind of focused my attention on through the week, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And for 5 years, it has been perfect because basically I can look after my boy during the day, and then my wife finishes work and she looks after him when I teach in the evening. Yeah. But to be honest with you, now he started school, so it's not ideal now because now he finishes school and I start teaching, and I'm teaching till like 9, half 9. So I've went to see him like all the time to not seeing him in the evenings at all now, which is not ideal. But now it's you've got to pay the bills and stuff. So I'm thankful that I'm busy and I do have plenty of pupils to keep me ticking over and stuff. But right now I'm just trying to figure out how I can not teach every night without losing money, basically.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that. I had a look at group lessons, but it's kind of one of the ones through lockdown. I had a few gaps, and I left the gaps as gaps. I was happy to have the gaps. But as things opened up again and stuff, and you get more inquiries, you think, well, I'll just fill that one. And then before you know it, you're back to having a full schedule. And then you think, like, how can I transition from one-to-one to groups, because I don't actually have any time. Yeah. So, and then when you do get time, it means that if you've got time that you could do a group, it means in the meantime you're not earning.
Yeah.
It's like, do you just fill the slots, or do you hold off and try and start a group? So it's as I say, right now I'm like a full schedule. I don't start until 4:30 now. Right enough, I used to start earlier, but I don't start until 4:30 because I pick my wee boy up for school.
Yeah.
So 4:30 till 9 o'clock, near enough Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
I
similar.
do, sorry,
Yeah.
I do do a group thing as well online. I forgot about, actually, which is really good. I started that through lockdown. It's for adults. I found that online kids would be difficult. So I have an online group on a Monday with adults, and I'm really enjoying it. Actually, it's really good.
Yeah. How many?
Four adults. So it's like a Zoom call for 50 minutes with 4 adults. And obviously I can send them like PDFs and backing tracks, and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good fun.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, I mean, to transition to groups, actually what I was going to say before was that I was similar to you. My kids, my first kid wasn't at school. So I did Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I did Saturday mornings, which ended up kind of going to most of the day, to be honest. But it just meant Sunday and Monday I could spend with my wife because she didn't work on a Monday or a Sunday. And then my daughter, I could just spend the whole day of Sunday, Monday, and Friday. So we used to do whatever together, which was great fun. And in the daytime, I could hang out with her if needed. If she was, because they get sick and they can't go into nursery or whatever. But then as soon as she started school, it was like, I can't do Saturdays anymore. So well, I could, but I just wouldn't see her as much. And it's kind of like, do I want to get 20 years down the line and be like, yeah, I did every Saturday, but I don't have a proper relationship with my children. So I made the same decision as you. So what I ended up doing, the franchise model I started with was groups. They said, build up all your groups Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you're only teaching for 20 hours. That was the theory, but I found people couldn't necessarily do those times. So if I had all these 6-year-olds or 8-year-olds or 10-year-olds, and I was trying to group them together, one 10-year-old could do 6 p.m, one of them could do 4 p.m. So you got all this juggling about, but over time, I've just slowly built groups up. So I'd start with one-to-one, let them know that there might be someone joining you one day, and then I just find someone similar level. And then once you've got twos, for all your slots, or you've moved someone from another slot into another group, it's just saved you an hour or half an hour, however long your lessons are. And then once you get to 3 for all your slots, you've got a lot of students, a lot more money coming in, and then you could easily hire a teacher to supplement your time. So I ended up hiring someone who does Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So now I can hang out with my kids and, help them with their homework or whatever, pick them up from school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I teach Thursday, Friday. And then in the daytimes, they're at childcare. So I'm just, trying to get more leads in and do the other stuff. Also ended up hiring a salesperson, so they book in the demos for me. So now I'm trying to find someone who can do my lead ads, my Facebook lead ads. And then once that's covered, it's kind of not completely removed me from the day-to-day, but it's kind of leveraged my time a lot better. Because ultimately, I know when someone comes in, I can tell, not straight away, but you can tell after a demo class whether they're a good fit for the classes or not, or if they're a good fit for one of the groups. So now, as soon as a demo comes in, I'll just say, okay, you're 10, you've had a bit of experience. Okay, you can go into this group. Can you make that time? They say yes or no, and then you kind of figure it out from there. So yeah, I'm at that kind of transition stage, which is, it's exciting, but it's also, what I found is that I love the teaching. That's the thing I love the most. I like seeing the development, especially when you don't love teaching every single student. that you have. There's always one or two who don't practice. They don't really show up each week, and it's you're just teaching a brick wall. But you know, they do slowly learn over a long period of time. But there's some kids and some adults who just practice diligently and they're progressing consistently, and you're just giving them new stuff, and then you're practicing new stuff, and you know, it's a very nice cycle.
Yeah.
To get into. Yeah, is there anything that you love teaching out of all the elements of teaching guitar? Do you have like one element that you really love?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I think repertoire. I think now building up their song knowledge, playing tunes.
Yeah.
I don't really. I've kind of as a result of lockdown, I have my own repertoire now. I used to use like books, for example, Melby, to read music and stuff.
Yeah.
And like kind of delve into rock school and Trinity and all these kind of various ones with various pupils depending on what they wanted.
Yeah.
And when lockdown happened, and from one day to the next, everyone went online. I tried to keep doing the same thing, and it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
You've got a 10-year-old kid in their room themselves, and you're saying, right, go to page 26, third line down, second bar in, and they're like, you can see them losing the will to live. So I kind of started doing things differently. So what I do now is I arrange tunes now, and I arrange at least two parts, a rhythm and a melody.
Yeah.
And I teach them each part. And as I say, this kind of started happening through lockdown. And what I have done since is I've done a gig recently with 11 of my younger students.
Yeah.
Because I've been teaching them all individually, these individual parts, they were able to come together having never met, and like half of them played melody, half of them played rhythm.
Yeah.
And they could play the tune together, and then they would just switch about, that kind of thing.
Mm.
So that element has been very pleasing. It's been really, really good to see that the idea that how I thought about it in my mind, how I kind of wanted this to work, has actually started to work.
Yeah.
And especially with the online teaching, it's just a great way of doing it, because on Zoom you can share your screen. So if I'm making all the PDFs and sending them, I can literally share my screen and go, here you are, here, hit that note there, and it's just a good way to do it. And then when they all started returning, it kind of all became easier again.
Yeah.
And now we've got this sort of almost like a set list where they'll come in every week. And I kind of used to pride myself on doing anything. Now, I would enjoy the challenge of new people coming, and I would say, right, what do you want to learn? And I would just have to accommodate that.
Yeah.
And for a while that was good fun, and it was a challenge. And then realised it's just too much work. You can't keep up.
Yeah.
You just can't. So, so as I say, it's good now that they'll come in, and I kind of know what they're coming in to do and where they are with it and what we need to work on. And once we finish that, I know what's coming next because I've already arranged it.
Yeah.
Not everybody buys into that. We still get some who want to do their own thing or are more advanced, obviously. And that's fine, but it's not everybody, at least.
Yeah.
So I think, as I say, it sounds a bit, maybe, I don't know, a bit indulgent, but teaching my own thing, my own repertoire, it just works.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
and I think as well, because I'm so into it, it helps them kind of go for it, if you like.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, exactly. So, and you know it off by heart as well. So you're more invested in it.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I can see how it works. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. These are songs that you've personally written and then transcribed down, or is this songs that, rock, pop, whatever, and that you've transcribed into simplified?
Yeah, it's not songs that I've written. It's just popular songs that I've arranged.
Yeah.
For two guitars. But obviously that two guitars, or two guitar parts, I should say, but those two guitar parts could be played by like 10 people and 10 people, or one person and one person.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter the number.
Yeah.
So it's really useful. So I can say, right, to all some of the individual pupils, like, let's get together. I think we're going to get together second week in November, for example. I'll say, right, yous all come along. Yous all know this stuff. They all know this stuff. So let's all get together and we'll just play.
Yeah.
And we've done that because, as I said, we had a wee gig there quite recently. I brought together 11 pupils who had never met each other, never played with anybody.
Yeah.
And we had 3 rehearsals, and then the gig was on the Saturday, and it was great. They were really good, and it's just basically they kind of all knew their parts.
Yeah.
They just had to come and actually play it with other people.
Yeah.
They really enjoyed it. They got a buzz, obviously, as you would if they're playing the gig and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was for a one-off, but I think what I'm going to do is to keep that sort of a mentality, if you like, that sort of group atmosphere. I'm going to just every now and again, maybe like a month and a half type of thing, try and get everybody together and play through the material, and maybe add a couple of more pupils, or maybe add some more tunes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just to keep it ticking over. So I'm not actually teaching groups as such, but I'm still kind of keeping my toe in.
Yeah. Yeah. You do, yeah, like band workshops.
A bit like that, aye. Yeah, a bit like that, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Obviously, just all guitars.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you get a drummer in for the gig, or?
We didn't actually. There was I was in touch with a guy who plays cajon. But it kind of fell through. So I thought that'd been quite a cool thing to do. So I'll maybe try and get somebody to do that the next time. And incorporate more like that kind of thing. I think that would really bring it to life. And I think they would. It's just a good vibe. It's just cool.
Yeah.
So
what's great about the guitar is that you can just have it as just guitars, and it still sounds great.
Aye. Well, I've got them all trying to kind of play when they play. It's hopefully, I think, quite rhythmic. I've got them like doing like the percussive strokes and stuff. 1, 2, 4, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it can sound quite good, even though it's just guitars. Quite a full sound. And as well, like the way I teach them, I'll do like to try and incorporate as many levels as possible. If all they can do is strum a chord on beat 1 of the bar, then that's all they do, and that's fine. And it gives them 2, 3, and the 4 to change.
Yeah.
But if they can do that, I'll say they hit the bass on 1, strum the chord on 2. That's already a bit more than just strumming.
Yeah.
Use the 3 and the 4 to change, and so on, and build it up like that now.
Yeah.
Just adding things all the time, so that it doesn't really matter what level you're at. We can add something, or we can accommodate, if you like.
Yeah.
So it seems to be working. So I think, in a very long way to answering your question, is teaching that sort of repertoire that I've arranged is probably my favourite thing to do.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'm kind of similar. I do actually like teaching music theory.
I like it as well.
Because it, especially people who have been playing a little while and they don't know what they're playing, and then you're suddenly adding that other element into it, and figuring out where all the notes are. I think it's really powerful for them.
I think teaching music theory, I'd always try and incorporate it, and some of the time I don't enjoy it as much, only because I don't feel the person is maybe really, I don't mean getting it as in they don't understand it, they're maybe not sure they need to know it.
Yeah.
So they're maybe a wee bit sceptical, but then now and again you'll get a pupil who is like really into it.
Yeah.
And you can blow their mind every single week. And it's great.
Yeah.
It's great when you see them having that, right, got you, it all makes sense.
Yeah. It was kind of like note reading, because I used to teach note reading the first 4 years I was teaching, and I would say 50% of people enjoyed it, and 30% weren't sure, and then 20% were like, no, I'm not doing it. Like completely against it. I have no idea why, but I think it's just because it feels a little bit more tricky than other guitar tab. But just learning to read notation, I think, is really powerful, especially when you're reading tabs, because I found when I was reading harder tabs, if I was practicing my note reading, it would be a lot easier. And when I wasn't practicing note reading, it was harder. It slows me down a bit. So yeah, do you teach note reading at all?
Well, I do still, but that was kind of the main focus of what I'd done before. It was that was how we started. For any beginners that came, I'm getting starting to read right away.
Yeah.
But as I say, through lockdown on Zoom, and you've got like a 10-year-old kid, it was proving very difficult. Had not much fun at all for either of us. You know what I mean? So that's why I've kind of moved away a wee bit from that. I do intend to still incorporate it now, but right now, and for some people as well, to be honest with you, I feel they just need to get playing.
Yeah.
Now,
the easy wins. You need the easy wins for them to stay motivated. Yeah.
To stay motivated, but also, like for example, now, if you're teaching them to read music and they're doing really well, even, but they hear a song and they go, oh, I wish I could play that. But you're like, well, that in terms of where we are theory wise, that's years down the line.
Yeah.
If I just showed you it right now, you could probably play it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I didn't do that. I used to not really show people much, which sounds bad. I don't mean it that way. I don't mean I didn't show it. I just mean like I'd be like, no, I want to provide you with the information that you're able to then do whatever you want. It takes a long, long time.
Yeah.
So I've kind of reneged a wee bit on that. I feel like I'm softened up a bit, and I now do show them more things.
Yeah.
Rather than teach them more things, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, in an ideal world, that would be everyone's goal. But I was similar to you when I started learning. I was just learning song with my guitar teacher. And then after a while, you slowly see the patterns between, the notes and the scales and the chords. And then for me personally, got to a point was like, I could spend 3 months learning this solo, or I could just make up my own. And I've learned lots of solos, I've learned lots of songs all the way through, but I just thought, if I don't practice them continuously, then you forget them.
Yeah.
And so when you need to pull it out, and most of the time I was playing in bands where we were creating our own music, so there wasn't really much point in learning, the whole Led Zeppelin catalog note for note perfect, even though it is nice to play some of the licks. I just got to a point where I just thought it doesn't actually serve me. Well, it serves me technique wise to learn like a really hard solo, but I'd much prefer just, using the scales and the chords and creating my own music. And then, it just means you're able to play over anything. So like last night, I was just warming up before the gig started, and they had music on, and I was able just to, play over the top, and it was fine. And so it makes it really fun.
Yeah.
But so for this boot camp I did earlier this week, there was a kid who'd never played before, and and there were some kids who'd been playing for a few years. So I was like, well, what do I do? So I was just doing like simple riffs, like You Really Got Me by the Kinks. And so for some of the kids, you're just going 1-3, 1-3-3, 1-3. So you're able to do that fairly simply, even if you play it slowly. But for the kids who've been playing a little longer, you're able to do the bigger bar chords or the full bar chord if they can. So you can make it more complex doing it that way. So it fits both of them.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. So I was going to ask, there's some listeners out there who might only have a few students, or they might just be thinking about guitar teaching. So I remember when I was in my office job, and I think it was the summer before I quit, I started downloading loads of podcasts and random stuff and courses on how to teach guitar. And that really got the cogs turning for me to actually go out and try and do it. So do you have any advice for your younger self? If you had to start all over again, to get going? What would you do?
You've got me thinking.
It's a tricky one.
I think spend less time worrying about the level you're at and just get stuck in.
Yeah.
Because I spent, and I still do probably, spend way more time trying to improve my own guitar playing. And I don't mean in a bad way, but most of the time it's not needed for teaching.
Yeah.
As I said, I have over the years, and I do still have a couple of pupils who are really quite advanced, quite well on.
Yeah.
But for now, the general kind of public, if you like, who just want to strum a few chords and play their favourite songs, you don't need a really high level of playing.
Yeah.
So as I say, now I kind of became aware of that, but it's some, I don't know if it's all guitarists, but I'm still addicted to trying to play what I can play.
Yeah.
Now, even though I'll never use it probably, but it's a goal. You kind of think, I want to do that, and so you challenge yourself to get to that level.
Yeah.
And then, but you're still teaching like Time of Your Life, Green Day. And these things never change, because I've noticed that as well over the years. There's, I don't know, 5 or 6 songs that always crop up, regardless of the age group, regardless of anything. It's always the same kind of. There's always a core of songs that people still want to learn. I don't know.
Haze.
So sorry.
Purple Haze.
These kind of the classic rock ones, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So as I say, just get on with it. Just get stuck in. I mean, don't overthink it. You learn as you go.
Yeah.
And you don't be afraid to admit you don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
Because I kind of tried to know everything.
Yeah.
And faked it for a while. But now I'm just like, well, nobody can possibly know everything. So
Yeah.
I can pass on what I know, and that's that, and I can direct you to, if I don't know, who might, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember a student came to me and he'd researched, the different woods on the guitar, the different gauges of the strings. He'd gone really deep into the pick sizes and acoustic versus electric, and you can go down a massive rabbit hole with all of it. And yeah, I just find that you don't really need to know. I was just like, I don't know. I went to the shop. I found a guitar I liked. I started playing it. I enjoyed it. Experiment, and yeah. So for getting new students, how did you kind of start getting your first students, and what would you do differently now if you had to go back and get your first students again?
I think. Well, I didn't advertise enough, so it took a long time to build up a decent client base. I'm fortunate in the sense now that I still don't advertise much at all, although I do have like a banner up at my local Tesco and that kind of thing. That helped a lot, which is a very simple thing, but it did really help for a while. But in terms of like Facebook advertising, when I started, in fact, Facebook wasn't even a thing. You know what I mean? So I was like doing local newspaper ads and that kind of thing. I got like a load of business cards printed and just pestered people, but nothing much came for that in my experience. So I think I don't know. Advertising still, it's not something I'm really very good at, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say. I do now have someone who helps me with like posts on Facebook and Instagram, so that at least there's something happening there, because I'm not one for posting much either. Although I do try to, and I'm more aware of that, so I do try to do it more often. But as I say, it seems to be for some people they just post and it's natural, they just do it. Whereas I'm like, oh, I'll need to put a post on. I need to be doing something. You know what I mean? So as I say, I don't have any great advice. I don't think in terms of good advertising strategies.
Do you have a Google My Business listing?
I do actually. Yes, I have that. Yeah, I have that.
Do you have a website?
I've got a web page which I've only had from this year.
Yeah.
And I've just put like a sign up thing on it, but I don't really promote it. I don't really, to be honest, I don't really know the best way to go about that.
So do you just get people calling in?
Yeah,
because they just book guitar lessons near me. They see you and then give you a call.
Yeah, so if I go to the Google, for example, and they type in where we live, I'll come up. I'm pretty sure either my Facebook or my Google place thing. So I've got a few through that. I've got a few for the sign down at the local Tesco. And just maybe a few just through generic sort of seeing it on Facebook, that kind of thing, or hearing. Word of mouth has been quite good. Because I teach 1-to-1, but I've been very fortunate over the years that I've got a lot of pupils who come for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of, I feel like, to call it the success, is that I don't need to find a lot of pupils really.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a lot of spaces, because people, when they start, albeit you get ones who come and go, obviously, but generally the people stay for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So I think that's to do with the fact that going back to, like, you don't have to know everything. Even if they stay for a long time, I know enough to still keep them going.
Yeah.
Keep them interested, type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you only have to be one step ahead, don't you?
Yeah, that's it, definitely.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a challenge as well, right enough.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, great. Well, it's been great speaking to you today, Stuart, and you've given some really, really great insights, and I'm sure a lot of guitar teachers out there will get a lot of benefit from listening to what you've been up to, and all your different ideas. So it's been really helpful. So really appreciate your time, and we hope you guys listening out there are enjoying it as well. Okay.
Well, thank you, Richard. Thank you for having me.
That's a pleasure. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, take care.